It's been just over a month since Tulsa City Councilors voted to pass a curfew for teens in the IDL downtown. I sat down with Tulsa Police Chief Dennis Larson to ask about the first few weeks of the curfew and new task force. I wanted to know if it's all working to help stop the violence in Tulsa. Look at this map where 3 shootings happened this summer over the span of 3 days. 1 person died and 19 people got hurt. That spree of violence led the city of Tulsa to adopt a new curfew for teens under 18 in the interdispersal loop. The downtown curfew is in effect Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., all the way until mid-October. On top of this curfew, there's already been a citywide curfew in place for years. That varies, but starts later at night.
We realized we had a violent crime problem with our young people, and it wasn't just in our entertainment district, it was spread out through Tulsa.
So if the violence has spread throughout Tulsa, I asked Tulsa Police Chief Dennis Larson why the curfew's only inside the IDL.
The young people aren't old enough to go into those establishments, but they were forming crowds outside of each of those establishments, and those crowds would slowly turn violent as we got later in the evening.
Chief Larson says the curfew is modeled after the one in Oklahoma City's Bricktown. The first couple of weeks, he says the plan was not to hand out tickets. The plan was to teach teenagers how the curfew works.
We wanted that educational curve because we're not out there to punish young people, we're out there to protect and make them safe. And so that has worked extremely well.
I would imagine not all of them are going home.
No.
And they're going to areas out of the IDL.
Yes.
How are you guys handling if those crowds just migrate to a new area that's not in that curfew?
Well, and that's what we hope for, and that's what we've seen. We know that they're not going to go home and go to bed at 9 o'clock. Everybody's been anywhere from 14 to 18 years old before. But what we do know also as an enforcement tool for the city of Tulsa to keep the peace, that it's much easier to approach a group of 15 to 20 than it is to approach a group of 1 to 2,000. So what we have seen as the crowds have dispersed from downtown, they haven't all moved to one singular place, and we're closely monitoring this.
Something else Chief Larson says they're also monitoring is gun violence across the city. TPD started a new task force just more than a month ago to specifically tackle this.
We always prioritize violent crime, and part of violent crime is also going after the illicit drug trade. But anybody who fires a gun, they move into a list of people we're looking for. If they're willing to pull a trigger on a firearm pointed at another human being, they get to go to the top of the list of we need to find this person and get their gun and them off the streets.
Chief Larson says the task force took nearly 80 guns off the streets in the first 2 weeks. He says 30 to 40 reassigned officers make up the task force. What happens to their 30 to 40 current roles, or prior roles, I should say?
Well, some of them are taken out of inside position, investigative positions, and their case load will either be absorbed by the other detectives in their squads, or we'll wait for them to return. We will rotate people through so they can go back to their normal duties. Chief
Larson says in the first few weeks they handed out less than 10 citations. The citations can cost up to $200. There could also be some court costs, and the court can decide to give community service instead of making people pay. We have reached out to Tulsa Police for citation numbers from this weekend. For more information about the curfew, just look for this story on fox23.com.